What's up, Fantasy Pros? My name is Andrew Erickson. Today, we'll be breaking down my trade targets, 10 players before Week 9 kicks off. But before I get to my list, if you want a chance to win a signed Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboys jersey, courtesy of Pristine Auction, the premier autographed sports memorabilia auction house, all you have to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. And if you didn't win, you can still sign up pristineauction.com using the link in our video description. Use the registration code FantasyPros. You'll get $10 off your first order. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight to the trade target list. Wide receiver Gabe Davis, Buffalo Bills, sell. Gabe Davis was heavily targeted last Thursday night, with 12 passes thrown his way for a 30% target share. He caught 9 of them for 87 yards and scored a touchdown. But as always with Davis, you sell high while you can. His status as the number 2 on the offense might not be as dialed in, with guys like Khalil Shakur and Dalton Kincaid starting to surge up in usage. He and Kincaid have identical target shares in the last 2 weeks, but Kincaid has a superior target rate per route run at 22% to 17%, as does Shakir at 19%. Sell Gabe Davis for Zach Charbonnet, Jerry Jeudy, Rashee Rice, Christian Watson, Drake London, or his own running back teammate. Running back James Cook, Buffalo Bills, buy. Cook carried the ball 14 times for a total of 67 yards in Week 8. He didn't score any touchdowns, but had a long run of 18 yards. Latavius Murray started yet again, had 5 carries for 7 yards, averaging 1.4 yards per carry. Came in at the goal line as he often does, but got stuffed. Both guys only caught 1 pass on 1 target, while Cook dominated the route share. Overall, Cook played 67% of the snaps to Murray's 33. Cook's snaps increased from last week, and that makes him a buy. The Bills have not been pleased with how ineffective Murray has been as a rusher, and I think that makes them lean more into Cook as the season progresses. He's seen some red zone usage this year, so at least an idea the Bills have toyed with. I think they go back down that road based on how Murray has underwhelmed as the red zone back recently. He hasn't scored since Week 3. On the year, Cook and Murray each have 14 red zone carries. Over the last 2 weeks, Cook has outtouched Murray 31-12. And with the addition of Leonard Fournette, who signed with the team on Monday, I think that means it's curtains for Latavius Murray. Neither Murray nor Damian Harris has panned out as a compliment to James Cook. Fournette has a better skill set, so I think his addition is more of how displeased the Bills are with Latavius Murray, not James Cook. Therefore, if a manager in your league views this as the death knell for Cook, I'd gladly take them off their hands. Buy Cook with Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle, George Pickens, or this prime sell high running back. Running back Gus Edwards, Baltimore Ravens, sell. Gus Edwards led the first half effort with 6 carries to Justice Hill's 1 in Week 8 versus Arizona. He tied the bow on a strong start with 3 rushing touchdowns on 6 red zone carries. The Gus bus was fully loaded, 19 carries for 80 yards with the hat trick. Hill only saw 4 carries, while catching the ball 4 times on 4 targets for 40 yards. Edwards logged a 52% snap share to Hill's 48%. So games where the Ravens should dominate are made for Edwards to feast, where closer back and forth contests are better suited for Justice Hill. And unfortunately, that means I'm looking to sell high on Gus Edwards. 2 elite run defense are coming up next between Seattle and Cleveland. That's not great for Edwards, who is very game script dependent for his fantasy value. And nobody's value is higher right now at running back after a 3-touchdown game. Trust the process, cash out on the Gus bus. Deal Edwards to a running back needy team for players like Aaron Jones, Nico Collins, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, or package him for this next wide receiver trade target. Wide receiver DK Metcalf, Seattle Seahawks, buy. Metcalf caught 5 balls for 67 yards on 14 targets and had a 38% target share in Week 8. He was peppered with downfield looks, earning over 150 air yards. He had all the opportunity for him to put up a massive game. 5 red zone targets, but 0 scores. He is on the cusp of an eruption spot. Buy low on DK Metcalf. He's probably one of my favorite buy low wide receiver candidates in all fantasy football for Week 9. Through 7 healthy games this year, Metcalf still leads the Seahawks in receiving yards. He's also seen 8+ targets in 3 of his last 4 games. The Ravens and Commanders are over the next 2 weeks, followed by the Rams, 49ers, Cowboys, and 49ers again. It's a great schedule for Metcalf to have some monster performances. Acquire Metcalf with Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, or this other Tennessee Titans playmaker, fresh off a 3-touchdown game. Wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, Tennessee Titans, sell. Rookie quarterback Will Levis shined for the Titans in Week 8, completing 19 of 29 passes for 238 yards with no interceptions and 4 touchdown passes. However, let's not get lost and overly obsessed with the 4 passing touchdowns. 3 came on deep balls, which are not easily replicated, especially when Levis orchestrated an offense that only converted 5 third downs. They punted 8 times. Only the Jets and Giants punted more in Week 8. Hopkins was Levis's primary target, caught 4 passes for a whopping 128 yards, found the end zone 3 times, but he only had 6 targets for a 21% target share. Like with Derrick Henry, I am not risking hitching my wagon to Hopkins and Levis for the remainder of the season. Just cash out. This will be Hopkins' best game of the season. Next 3 games for the Tennessee Titans will not be as favorable, as they are all on the road, where the Titans are notoriously bad. Take advantage of the gift you got in Week 8 to ship off Hopkins for Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Drake London, Christian Kirk, or this next buy low running back. Running back Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs, buy. The Chiefs struggled on the ground versus the Broncos with only 62 rushing yards. Pacheco led the team with 8 carries for 40 yards. He still caught 3 balls on 4 targets, but just for -3 yards. The snaps dipped with the Chiefs involving Jared McKinnon more, 41% snap share, in a negative game script. However, Pacheco still ran the most routes and had more targets. Buy low on the league's most underrated workhorse. 2 solid matchups with a bye week in between versus Miami and the Raiders over the next month. Not to mention, per the FantasyPros strength of schedule tool, Kansas City running backs have the best schedule for the remainder of the season. Buy Pacheco with Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave, Devontae Smith, or this next sell high running back. Running back Raheem Mostert, Miami Dolphins, sell. Mostert led the Dolphins with 13 carries for 46 yards and found the end zone once on 1 of 2 red zone attempts versus the Patriots. He and Jeff Wilson split carries 5 versus 3 in the first half. Wilson ended with 6 carries but didn't score any rushing touchdowns. Mostert was also not used at all in the passing game, despite running a route on 50% of the dropbacks. 0 targets to Wilson's 2 and Salvon Ahmed's 4, with 2 happened to be in the red zone. Mostert played just 56% of the snaps, while Wilson and Ahmed played the other 25% each. Miami is showing that they want to use a committee, and I don't think it'll work favorably for Mostert when Devon Achane returns, likely after the Week 10 bye week. Sell Raheem Mostert. Acquire Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, DK Metcalf, David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, or this next buy low wide receiver with Raheem Mostert. Wide receiver Deontay Johnson, Pittsburgh Steelers, buy. Johnson was the top target overall for the Steelers, catching 8 passes for 85 yards in Week 8, 14 targets for a 33% target share. He's also being used much more downfield, with nearly 200 air yards. A true target commander with potentially untapped ceiling if he continues to see usage farther downfield. He has a 25% target share through 3 games, averaging 5+ catches per game. With Mitchell Trubisky last season, Deontay Johnson also posted much better numbers. I'd expect him to be the Steelers wide receiver 1 in a great matchup versus the Titans in Week 9. Johnson's targets with Trubisky in games last year: 12, 10, 11, 8, and 10. George Pickens in those same games: 3, 2, 7, 3, and 5. Snag Deontay with George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, Brian Robinson, or as part of a deal with my number 1 sell high running back. Running back Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks, sell. The first half carry total was 5 for Kenneth Walker and 3 for Zach Charbonnet in Seattle's backfield last Sunday. Ended 8-5 in favor of Walker. Both guys were very efficient, averaging over 8 yards per carry. Both running backs also saw 2 targets. But Charbonnet outright played more than Walker, 59% snap share to 41% snap share. Therefore, it might be time to sell high on Walker's fast start, with the rookie getting ramped up. Charbonnet's finally realizing that receiving role, running more routes than Walker, 22 versus 12. Walker might also be dealing with a calf injury, but those types of injuries don't just disappear, especially with Seattle past their bye week. Take Walker's early season production and flip it for Saquon Barkley, Devontae Adams, Brandon Ayuk, Javonte Williams, Breece Hall are my number 1 buy low running back in fantasy football. Running back Tony Pollard, Dallas Cowboys, buy. Cowboys rushing attack was led by Tony Pollard, who carried the ball 12 times for 53 yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry, but no touchdowns again in Week 8. He only had 1 target and another blowout home win for the Cowboys, but you have to buy low. The touchdowns have to come at some point. Pollard is the RB6 in expected fantasy points per game this season. He should have 5.5 more touchdowns based on his usage as the NFL leader in red zone touches 8 weeks into the season. He's averaging nearly the exact same points per game as he did last season through 8 weeks. He finished as the RB4 the rest of the way. Trust the process and trust in a second half surge from Pollard in 2023. Get Pollard with CeeDee Lamb, Alvin Kamara, or Josh Jacobs. That concludes my list of 10 players to trade away and for before Week 9 kicks off in the NFL season. If you enjoyed this list, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. And be sure to check out the Fantasy Pros rest of season rankings to help with all your trade questions. And before you go, remember, if you want to win a signed Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboys jersey, courtesy of Pristine Auction, the premier autographed sports memorabilia auction house, All you have to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. If you didn't win, you can still sign up at pristineauction.com using the link in our video description. If you use the code FANTASYPROS, you'll get $10 off your first order. Thanks for watching.